So today we're going to look at the story of Joseph. The story of who?
Joseph.
Joseph. So do any of you know the story of Joseph? You do? Anyone else? No? Okay, then you listen. I will tell you about Joseph in the Bible. Now Joseph's dad's name is called Jacob. What's his dad's name?
Jacob.
Jacob had two wives. Those two wives, and the two wives were sisters. They were sisters, Rachel and Leah. Those are his two wives. He also had some other wives, like the maids, but we won't talk about them. So Leah had children, and Rachel also had children. All together, if you look in your handout, you see all the sons of Jacob.
Each wives have six.
No, they, yeah. So can you see all the brothers? These are all Joseph's brothers. He also had daughters, yeah, but these are his 12 sons. So he had daughters. He had Dinah.
Oh, there's Joseph.
Yeah. Rachel had two children. Rachel, the other wife. I told you Jacob had two wives. Yeah? So one wife is Rachel. Rachel had two sons. Her two sons is Joseph and Benjamin. So can you see the last two sons in your handout? The last two sons. Can you see it?
I see them, Joseph and Benjamin.
Joseph and
11 and
Benjamin.
12.
Yes. Number 11 and 12. That's Rachel's children. Now, Jacob loved Joseph more than all the other kids
Why?
because he had Joseph when he was old. You understand? I just close the door a bit.
It's freezing in here.
Yeah, it's good if it's cold, so you will not fall asleep. So, Jacob loved Joseph more than all his children. Let me see if I can turn down the AC since you're all cold.
It's not cold. It's not cold. It's not cold. There's your chicken hands. It's not cold.
I think I've turned it off.
Then you guys have a good hand.
Yeah, you'll be fine soon. Are you listening? Right. Jacob loved who more?
Joseph.
Why did he love Joseph more?
Because he had him
When he was old. So you see, it's like grandparents.
Oh, God.
Like grandparents. They love their grandchildren a lot because they're old now.
Stop.
So sometimes their children are always angry with their parents. That when I was little, you were not good to me like this, but you're very good to their grandchildren because they are now old. So they love their grandchildren. I'm going to give you sweetie in a minute, okay? Go and sit down. I'll give it to you.
Auntie, I
Sit
don't
down
know what
and listen.
sweetie she wants.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
wants the one that I have.
Yeah, hold. Toilet. She needs the toilet.
Oh my God.
Okay.
How can you take
How can you take that? It's one of them.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Very wrong.
Right. Are we listening now? So if you look at your next page in your handout, if you are following the story, he made Joseph a coat of many colors. You see it? He made him a coat of many colors. And were the other brothers happy about that? No, they were not. They were jealous.
They're mad.
They were mad. They were not happy at all. Why? Because their dad gave him a coat, he didn't give them a coat.
Not fair.
It's not fair. Exactly.
Frustrated.
Frustrated, absolutely. So when you are a parent, you have to look after your children equally. Don't give one of them biscuit and don't give the others. If you want to give your kids sweets, you need to give all of them sweets. Yeah.
But then the problem is, what if you have 30 children?
Then you give 30 children sweets.
£30
If you have 30 children, you give 30 children sweets. If you can't give it to all of them, then don't give anybody.
Then each of them would just get like
They will get what?
fair enough.
Yeah. So that's what you should do.
But
But Joseph, Jacob was looking, he loved Joseph more. And because of that, Joseph was a spoiled boy. He was 17. He wasn't like a little kid.
you were 17.
He was 17. He wasn't a baby. And whenever he sees his brothers do anything wrong, he runs to the daddy. Daddy, 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 see what they're doing, see what they're doing.
Wait, so basically does that mean that that basically means that
The brothers were older. They're all older.
that makes sense.
Yeah, they're all older because he's 17.
But then that's another reason why he likes him, because he's the youngest out of all of them.
Well, Benjamin is the youngest. Yeah, because Benjamin is the last born.
Yeah.
But he loved Joseph more. And because Joseph was also the son of his favorite wife. He had 2 wives. And the dad will discipline their boys. So obviously they're not going to like Joseph. It's like if you know the horrid Henry, you see always Peter tells on Henry.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And so always Peter will say, I'm telling. And Henry will say, you don't have to tell. But then Peter tells. And the mom will say, don't be hurried, Henry, every time. She just,
After Henry gets mad, then after he turns like himself.
yeah. You know, so that's how Joseph was. He always tells on his brothers. And the dad will also discipline his brothers. So that's why they didn't like Joseph. So one day, Joseph had a dream. He had 2 dreams. If you look in your handout, you see the picture of the dream. Does anybody know the first dream? Yeah? You see the picture? It's there. The picture is in your handout.
Is it the one where the stars bottom?
No, that's the second one. The first dream is at the top of your handout there. Yeah? So the first dream, he dreamt that he and his brothers were tying sheaves. In the handout, you see that there is sheaves. They're like leaves. They were tying it. And his leaf stood up. His leaf stood up.
I'm upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it. This is it. Yeah? This is it. Yeah, that's the first dream. So his leaf stood up and the other leaves bowed down before his leaf. So the brother said, what do you mean? Are you not saying that we are going to bow down before you? And that made them hate him more because of his dream. Then he had a second dream, which you will see in your handout. What's the second dream? That's it. What's the second dream? Anybody? Yeah?
The stars are bowing down.
Yes. So he had a dream that the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down for him. And he also told the dream to his dad. And his dad said, what do you mean? What kind of a dream is this? So are you saying that me and your mom and all your brothers are going to bow down before you? What kind of dream is this? But the dad did not say anything. His brothers hated him the more because of the dreams and because he's the dad's favorite. They hated Joseph. So one day, the brothers took the sheep to go and feed the sheep and water the sheep. The dad called Joseph, go and see what your brothers are doing and come back and tell me. So Joseph went. So when Joseph went, he went to a place called Shechem. But he didn't see his brothers. That's where they told their dad they are going. They said, we are going to Shechem to go and feed the animals. So he went to Shechem, but he couldn't see his brothers. And he couldn't see the sheep. So one man saw Joseph looking around, just looking around. The man said, "Who are you looking for?" He said, "I'm looking for my brothers. Have you seen them? They have the sheep." And the man said, "Yeah, I heard them say, let's go to Dothan." That's another place because there's a lot of grass and water there for the sheep. So they have gone to Dothan. Where have they gone? Dothan. So Joseph thanked the man and he went to Dothan. If I was Joseph, because daddy said, go to Shechem, and they are not at Shechem, you're supposed to go home and say, Dad, they are not at Shechem. But Joseph decided to go and look for them at Dothan. So when he was afar off, his brothers saw him coming. They said, "Oh, how do you think they recognized Joseph?"
With the coat.
Their coat of many colors. He probably put it on. And they saw him from afar. They said, "Here comes that dreamer. Let us kill him so that his dreams will die. Everything will die. Let's kill him." So they planned before he even got to them to kill their own brother. They planned, yeah. No, they didn't. So one of his brothers, Reuben, told them that, "No, don't let us kill him. We can just throw him in this pit." There was a pit there, a hole in the ground. "Let's just throw him here, but don't let us kill him. He is our brother." Reuben was planning that he will, well, after they've gone, he will come back and rescue Joseph and take him back to his dad. That's what he was planning. So when the boy got towards them, they said, "Yeah, here you are." So they are now pushing him. Everybody is pushing him. He's there in the middle. He's pleading with them, "Please, please, please." They tore off his cloak of many colors. They tore it off. And they took Joseph and they threw him in the pit. And Joseph was begging. He was pleading with them, "Please." Pits in those days is very deep. It's very, very deep. You couldn't just climb out. They are the pits that rain falls in there, and then they have water. Because in Israel, there's not a lot of rain. There are 11 brothers. There's 10 of them there. And Joseph, the youngest one, Benjamin, he is at home. There's 10 brothers. They're bigger than him. He can't just run. Benjamin was at home because he's the baby. Remember, he's the baby. He's at home. So he wasn't there. And so there's 10 brothers. And Joseph, there's no way he can outrun all of them. Yeah. So he begged them, but they refused to listen. And then Reuben went away. I don't know where Reuben decided to go. He left his brothers with Joseph in the pit. So when they were there, they saw some people coming with camels. Yeah, they were going to Egypt. Where were they going?
Egypt.
To Egypt.
They stole it.
And then they said, "Let's sell him to these people. Then we can get money. We don't need to kill him. Let's sell Joseph." So they took Joseph out of the pit and they sold him. When these people came, they said, "Do you want a slave? This boy is a slave. Do you want to buy him?" And they sold their brother. You understand? They sold Joseph. And they took his coat of many colors and they dipped it in an animal's blood. And they took it home and showed it to their dad.
To act like he was dead.
To act like he was killed by a wild animal. And they told their dad, "Is this your son's coat?" And he said, "Yes, an animal has killed Joseph." Jacob started crying. He started crying. "Oh, Joseph, my son, Joseph is gone. Joseph is dead. A wild animal has killed him." They said, "Daddy, come and eat." He said, "I don't want food." I'm going to cry for Joseph until I die. My favorite son is dead. He was crying every day. He was crying every day. Now these people have gone to Egypt with Joseph. Joseph is a 17-year-old boy. He doesn't do any hard work. So he's terrified. He doesn't know what's happening. And they sell Joseph when they got to Egypt to a man called Potiphar. What's the man's name?
Potiphar.
They sell him to Potiphar. So he becomes Potiphar's slave. So you can see what's happening to Joseph. He becomes Potiphar's slave. It's not time to look at the word search. You listen. You do that later.
Oh, I want to do it now.
No, you do it later. After the story, you do the word search. So when he's in Potiphar's house, Potiphar noticed that God is with Joseph. Everything Joseph does, he prospers in it. So because of Joseph, listen, because of Joseph, God blessed Potiphar's house. There are some people that will come and live with you. While they are living with you, God will be blessing your house. There will be money coming, there will be lots of things coming because that person living with you is blessed. And because of that person, you'll be blessed. And there are equally some people that will come and stay with you and everything bad will be happening. And you'll be saying that since this person came to live here, our TV has broke down, the fridge has broke down, there's no food in the house, the light switch is just gone off. You know, you've been wondering that, is it this person? Maybe they've got a curse. Once you start seeing that, it's better you send them back to where they came from. But Joseph was blessed because God was with him. So his master, Potiphar, didn't treat him like the other slaves that would go to the farm to work in the sun, that have to carry the water on their head, that have to do all the cooking and the sweeping. He didn't treat Joseph like that. He made Joseph the head of the slaves. So Joseph is now like the boss of the slaves. So Joseph tells the other slaves what to do because Potiphar was happy with Joseph. Joseph was a righteous guy. He loved God. Despite all what happened to him, he still loved God. He still praised to God. He didn't say, God, all this is your fault. If you hadn't shown me those dreams, this wouldn't happen to me. He didn't say that. You know, he said he was still praying to God. He still loved God. So Potiphar showed him favor. And Potiphar had a wife, Mrs. Potiphar. Potiphar's wife loves Joseph because Joseph is handsome. He's handsome like Philip, my son. Yeah, he's handsome like Philip.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, it is true. No buts. It is true. So, Mrs. Potiphar wants Joseph to be her boyfriend.
Hey!
Yes. So she went to Joseph. Will you be my boyfriend? What did Joseph say?
No.
He said, no. You have a husband. Potiphar is your husband. I cannot offend Potiphar and I don't want to offend God. If I'm your boyfriend, God will not be happy with me. But every day, Mrs. Potiphar will say, Joseph, come. Joseph will say, no. Joseph, come. Joseph will say,
No.
no. So one day, exactly. Why is she forcing him? Exactly. So one day, Joseph was alone in the house. He was busy. And Mrs. Potiphar saw that there's nobody around. Then she pulled him. Joseph, come. Joseph, come. So Joseph ran out of the house. When he ran, his scarf, yeah, he left it in Mrs. Potiphar's hand because he just wanted to get out of the house. When she saw that he had run and left his scarf, she now shouted, everybody come and see what Joseph wanted to do. Joseph wanted to force me. And when I screamed, he ran. See his scarf. What's the matter? What's the matter? Let me give you crisps. You want crisps? Yeah? Let me give you crisps. So Potiphar So Mrs. Potiphar lied. Yeah? Right. You want this? Yes?
Every time when someone gets
Right, here you go. Take this. Yep. Take this. Right. So, Mrs. Potiphar lied. Yeah. It's hurting. Why is it hurting? So are you listening? Yeah. But you said you want snacks. I bought snacks for you.
I also got snacks.
Okay, good. So Mrs. Potiphar
Have this box.
screamed. And when her husband came home, anyone else? Philip? When her husband came home, she didn't want, I didn't give.
Okay, how many do you have? Auntie, he's sitting on one.
Okay, leave it there on the table. So when Potiphar came home, are you listening? When Potiphar came home, she told her husband, Joseph wanted to force me to be his girlfriend. And when I refused, you know, he left his scarf and he ran out. Potiphar was angry.
That's the opposite.
Exactly. That's the opposite of what happened. You know what happened. I know what happened. Potiphar didn't know what happened. So Potiphar sent Joseph to prison. He sent him to prison. He wanted to take my wife. Yeah. You will see. You see the picture of Joseph running away. Yeah. And that's Joseph in prison. You see Joseph in prison? And when Joseph was in prison, God was still with him. So he found favor in prison. You know the way he found favor in Potiphar's house? He found favor in prison. So all the prison guards treated Joseph with respect. They didn't treat him how they normally treat the prisoners. With the prisoners, maybe they whip them with the stick, or they don't give them food, they treat them badly. But Joseph, they didn't treat him like that. Yeah. So they made Joseph the head of the prisoners. So he also had privilege while he was in prison because God was with him. So you see why it's good to serve God. Anywhere you go, you will have favor because God will always be with you. You'll be different to all the other people, all the other children there. So when he was in prison, two prisoners had a dream. And they were sad because nobody to interpret the dream. When you have a dream, there's always a meaning to the dream. You may not know the meaning, but if you tell somebody like a pastor, they will tell you the meaning of your dream. So these two prisoners were sad. And Joseph said, what's wrong with you guys? Why are you sad? Why are you sad today? And they said, we had a dream and there's nobody to interpret the dream. So Joseph interpreted the dream to them. And it came to pass. So later, 2 years later, Pharaoh had a dream. Pharaoh is the king. Yeah? 2 years later, he also had a dream. And he didn't know the meaning of the dream. He checked throughout Egypt. Who can tell me the meaning of my dream? Who can tell me the meaning of my dream? Nobody could. Then somebody said, there was this prisoner in prison. He's able to interpret dreams. His name was Joseph. He's a Hebrew boy. So Pharaoh said, go and bring him. So they went to the prison and they said, Joseph, the king, Pharaoh wants to see you. So come quickly. He went to bath and he wore a nice dress because he's going before the king. And he went before Pharaoh and he bowed, Your Majesty, I am Joseph. And Pharaoh said, this is my dream. I heard that you know how to interpret dreams. And Joseph told Pharaoh, God is the one who interprets dreams. But tell me your dream. So you see, Joseph was not angry with God for all what he went through. He still honors God. He said, God will interpret your dream. Tell it to me. Pharaoh told him the dream, and Joseph interpreted the dream, and Pharaoh was happy. So Pharaoh made Joseph the prime minister of Egypt. So he did not go back to prison anymore. He was now a very important person in Egypt. So wherever Pharaoh goes, Joseph goes with him. So all the people, when they see Pharaoh and Joseph, they bow. They bow before Joseph. Remember, he was a prisoner, but now he's a very important man. So there was no food in the whole world. There was no food. There was only food in Egypt. Only food in Egypt. So everybody, they will go to Egypt to buy food. Everybody goes to Egypt to buy food. And one day the brothers, his brothers in Canaan, they had no food. So their dad called them. Why are you just looking at each other? There is food in Egypt. Go and buy food for us so we don't die. The brothers do not want to go to Egypt. Why don't they want to go to Egypt?
Because Joseph is there.
Because of Joseph. They knew that they sold him and they took him to Egypt. So they were looking at each other. If we go to Egypt, maybe Joseph is there, maybe he's dead. So you see, their conscience, they were thinking that we can't go to Egypt. Their dad said, we are starving, there's no food. So they had to go to Egypt. And when they all went to Egypt, all 10 of them, Joseph recognized them. They did not recognize Joseph. Because Joseph now was a very important person, and he dresses like an Egyptian, and he speaks Egyptian. He doesn't speak Hebrew anymore, but he still understands Hebrew, because you remember he was 17, so he wasn't like a little baby. But he doesn't speak Hebrew. He speaks Egyptian, and he dresses like an Egyptian. So when the brothers came, Joseph spoke in Egyptian language, and an interpreter spoke to the brothers in Hebrew. So whenever the brothers are speaking to each other, saying, hey, what we did to Joseph was bad. What we did to our brother was bad. Joseph can understand, but he pretends not to hear them. But in the end, Joseph now reveals himself and said, guess what? I'm Joseph. And they were scared. Joseph, he said, come near me, it's me, I'm your brother Joseph. And they were scared, and they were going near Joseph like, is it really him? Is it really him? And he said, don't worry. And they all fell down before Joseph and they bowed. Remember Joseph's dream? Yeah. Remember his dream. They all bowed before Joseph. They are older than Joseph, remember. They all bowed. That was his dream. And he told them that, don't worry, I have forgiven you. I have forgiven you. If you look at the verse, check the verse on your handout. We're all going to read that together. So open up to the verse. Genesis 50:20. What does it say? Let's read.
You meant to hurt me.
Read it together.
You meant to hurt me.
But God turned your evil into good. It was to save the lives of many people, and it is being done. So he told his brothers, I forgive you. You sold me. You treated me bad because you thought you were doing evil. But if you had not sold me, if I had not come to Egypt, many people would have died. Because of Joseph, many people did not die in the world. You know, because he had the idea about the food. You know, I said Egypt only had food. Yeah, I didn't go through all the story because it's long. But that was Joseph's idea. That's why Egypt had food. If it wasn't for Joseph, Egypt also would not have food. Many people would have died. So it was good that the brothers did what they did. It was all in God's plan. Sometimes you might be going through something bad and you're not happy, but you don't know it's all in God's plan. You see, before I had a boyfriend that I wanted to marry, before I met my husband, you all know my husband, the pastor, I had a man I wanted to marry. And my friend snatched that man away from me. Yeah. I was very upset. Very, very upset. But then I met my husband. You know, Pastor. I met my husband. You don't know my husband. You don't know Pastor. You don't know Pastor Ketili. Okay, I will show him. I will show him. Yeah. You see, so I met my husband. And my husband is a nicer man than that man. You see, my husband is a strong Christian. He's a pastor. If my friend had not done that, I wouldn't have met my husband. So sometimes, you see, you'll be going through things and you'll be thinking that, why did God let this happen? Let it happen so that you can have something better. Yeah? Something much better. That's why sometimes things happen to you. So whenever anything happens to you, just thank God. You see what happened to Joseph? He was not bitter. He did not pray for his brothers to die. There are some Christians, when somebody does something bad to you, you will start praying for them to die. Die, die, die. He did not pray for his brothers to die. He forgave them. And he was not angry with God. He still worshipped God, even though all of this happened. If God had not shown him the dream, he wouldn't have got into trouble. God showed him the dream, but he didn't blame God. He still loved God. So anything that happens in your lives, always thank God for it. Remember that something better is coming. Yeah, something much better. That's why it happened. Yeah, we're almost finished now, okay? Yeah? So that's why God made it happen. So that's the end of the Joseph story. Any questions before you do your quiz? There's a quiz and there's a word search. But any questions about Joseph's story? Any questions? Yeah? So what special gift did Joseph have?
He had visions and special dreams.
And what did his father give him?
A coat of many colors.
A coat. How many brothers did Joseph have?
12.
Well, yeah, he was one of 12. Which of these things did Joseph's brothers not do to him?
Throw him a surprise party.
They did not throw him a surprise party. And what country did Joseph take him?
Egypt.
Well done. You were all listening. Clap for yourselves. Clap for yourselves. So I'm going to give you a pen. You all do the quiz. And there's a word search. You should all do the word search. Yeah? Yeah, question. Yeah, go and wash your hands. Right, I'm going to give you pens. Yeah, you're going to do it. It's in your paper. That is so good.
I'm gonna
Well done. Right, let's see.
I'm also Joe Jason.